ken 'n ou liedjie van lewenswel en wee, van lang vergane skepe in die kelders van die see. Die woorde is vergeten en toch die dinkie dra soos vaag onthoude griepies uit 'n baie ou verhaal van swerwers sonder rigting, van soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Gesigte, drome, name is deur die wind verwaai. En waarin al die woorde is, sou net 'n kind wou raai. Swerwers sonder rigting, soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kool op die vuur. En die tafel en die laaikas en alles wat eers vas was versmelt tot blote skaries teen die muur. Ons drome van gister word somber en sinister, want kyk alles het 'n vasgestelde uur. Ons beplan torenblokke, maar die slopers is betrokke en ons drome is bloot skadu's teen die muur. Met orgelbegeleiding kom die voorspel tot die skeiding, maar dis alles reg. Die liefde is 'n vuur en van die vurige hofmaat word ons later in die hofspak. En die liefde is 'n skadu teen die muur. En swart of wit getooi in 'n stoet of in konvooi, wonder elkeen hoe lank alles nog sal duur. En leef alders te balder, van die kus wag op die solder en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. En leef alders te balder, van die kus wag op die solder en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar koole op die vuur. En my voete en my hande word ou bekende lande en skadiekaarte teen die kamermuur. Die wêreld word 'n skadu teen die muur. 'n flikkerende skadu teen die muur. Ek ken 'n ou liedjie van lewenswel en weer, van lang vergane skepe in die kelders van die see. Die woorde is vergeten en toch die dinkie draal soos vaag onthoude griepies uit 'n baie ou verhaal van swerwers sonder rigting, van soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Gesigte, drome, name is deur die wind verwaai. En waarin al die woorde is, so net 'n kind wil raai. Swerwers sonder rigting, soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kool op die vuur. En die tafel en die laaikas en alles wat eers vas was versmelt tot blote skadu's teen die muur. Ons drome van gister word somber en sinister, want kyk alles het 'n vasgestelde uur. Ons beplan torenblokke, maar die slopers is betrokke en ons drome is bloot skadu's teen die muur. Met orgelbegeleiding kom die voorspel tot die skeiding, maar dis alles reg. Die liefde is 'n vuur, en van die vurige hofmaat word ons later in die hofspak. Van die liefde is 'n skadu teen die muur. En swart of wit getooi, en 'n stoet of 'n konfooi, wonder elkeen hoe lank alles nog sal duur. En lief onderste walder, van die kus wag op die solder, en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. En lief onderste walder, van Annikus wag op die zolder en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kolle op die vuur. En my voete en my hande word ou bekende lande en skadu-kaarte teen die kamermuur. Die wêreld word 'n skadu teen die muur. Flikkerende skadu teen die muur.
Being an Anglican priest, I have to use a prayer book, which is maybe foreign to some of you. I know my Redeemer lives, and that he, in the end, he shall stand upon the earth. I myself will see him with my own eyes, and I and not another. Marius was a very impetuous person. He was a person that wanted to get things done. My initiation with Marius was in Soweto, where I was struggling in a little church that was held in a classroom. If you've ever been to a classroom in Soweto, all the windows are welded closed because the brass had been stuck. So that if the congregation filled that little classroom and they coughed and they sneezed. And I thought, be with me, Lord. Then Marius came on the scene and I said to him, they've got a piece of land here that the church owns. He said, okay, let's go look at it. He looked at it, he said, okay, I'll build the church. And he made through plans, they were approved by the church, and Marius knew everybody. He had 3 bricklayers that he knew, and they had, of course, their staff who mixed cement and so on. And this was astounding to me that he had gone to the cathedral and said, what money can I have to build a church? So they financed the church and they built it in a hurry, but not quite quick enough. For our Christmas celebration, we had a little tent. We put a tent up, not to go to the classrooms any longer, but I had said to them the year before, next year we're going to spend Christmas in our church. So we all gathered in the church. There were no chairs, but they were standing. And there were a few tarps over the top of the building. Because the walls were up, the windows were there, the roof hadn't been put on. And in God's wisdom, He sent rain. heavy rain, so that we all crouched behind the wall that it was coming from and did the Christmas service. And I remember Marius by that he was a bloke who had friends everywhere. He would, that 3 bricklayers were on their way to Rhodesia. He said, no, you've got to build a church here. And they did so. Marius was very good within his heart, because he knew that that church would never be built if it was me. He knew that. But right now, I think that church is being run by a black priest. And if you've ever been into an African church, they like singing. And they sing a lot. And they sing it in their own language. So you just sit there and, oh, that's nice. When I left that church, I was thoroughly ground off, because the collection plate hardly had any money on it.
The change.
Change in the form of copper. And then they were planning a trip where they're going to hire a big bus and go down to Cape Town. And I thought to myself, these guys have got money, but they're keeping it away from God. So I remember Marius that he built that church in record time, and it was a beautiful church. And it's there, still standing, and as a monument to Marius.
What we found about Marius, he was generous to a fault, wasn't he? Yes. He would help out, but he would go further. He really was generous. He was also very strict on me. My son Mark says that I riled him because we often had fights. But really, we loved him, and he was very generous. And when he married Kate, John was so delighted. In his speech, he said, I was worried about Kate living on her own, but she's found herself a man to look after. And I'll just end off. I am the resurrection and the life, said Jesus. He who believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Way to go, Marius.
Thank you, Mum and Dad. Des, would you like to join us for a few words? Des? To see masks. Thank you all for wearing your masks.
Yeah.
You want the COVID speech? It goes like this. The other one, traditional, goes like that.
Please give me a traditional.
My name's Des. My relationship with Marius was a friend. I had met him in a monument, and I was trying to think of the date. It was about 1981, somewhere around there. And we've been friends all these years. He's been a friend, a colleague, a boss. We at times didn't see each other for a year or two, and then when we got together again, great friends. I just want to say to Ben, to Emma, to Brendan, to Harlan, to Alba, to Yvette, to Eugene, Kate, Julia, and all those that he touched and loved. Our support, our thoughts, and our prayers are with you. Marius, as we said, he was a bright man. He was clever. He was hardworking. He was a great believer in himself. He was generous to a fault at times. I think some people took advantage of that. He was soft and he was hard. I remember he used to have these sayings, om te meet is om te weet. And you say, you measure the thing. You know what you're talking about. You don't just think. And the other one was, inspect, don't expect. So don't just expect things to happen, know what's happening. And the last one was take charge, and I think that's what he did on many occasions. Take charge. Don't just let things happen around you. Marius was many things to many people. To me, he was a great friend, and somebody I will really, really miss. A story, and he was lucky. There was always times when I was busy with something, it would take me a day to do it. And Marius would land up doing it in 10 minutes. And I don't know how he did it. It was luck. I remember I was doing a TV aerial, and it was in Sasolburg, and you had to have a fairly big aerial, and the signal wasn't good in those days. And I spent a day doing this. And the wife comes to help, and then she gets bored, and she goes off, and you're on the roof trying to turn this aerial, you're shouting, the neighbor 3 doors down hears you, but the wife doesn't hear you. And this whole day I was busy with it. And eventually he came to visit, and he said, the signal is tremendous. He said, you must come and help me. And anyway, so we organized the brine. We always did a thing with the brine. And then he would do the TV aerial quickly, and then the brine. And I went there, and I was now running in to see the signal, and he was outside and supposed to connect the wire to the aerial. And I said, Marius, leave it there, it's perfect, it's perfect. I ran out, all he was on the ladder, and he had the wire like this. It wasn't even connected to the aerial. And it was where the gutter was joined. So he just pushed it into the joint, and we went in brine. And it was a beautiful signal. And I thought, there we go. Lastly, I just want to say is my thoughts on it doesn't matter how long you've lived. It matters how you've lived that life. And my friend Marius, you lived a full life. And we will miss you.
Thank you, Des. Julia will join us now to say a few words. Des was beautiful.
Hello. When I was asked to say some things, I was very nervous because I'm not very good at speeches, but Bruce always was. I remember on my 21st birthday, I begged my mum to say a speech. Because that's what you always do. You have your parents say a lovely speech about your whole life. And weeks before, I told her, you must say a big speech for me. She said, yes, I'll do that. Days before, I reminded her, remember you giving a big speech at my birthday party? Yes, giving a speech. The day of, I asked her, have you practiced your speech? She said she was just going to wing it. Her entire speech was, happy birthday, Sus, I love you.
That's important.
It's important, but I was very disappointed. And without missing a beat, Moose just stood up and gave the most incredible speech. He hadn't rehearsed, I hadn't thought to ask him, but he was ready, and he was always ready to give the most incredible speeches. People often wondered why I called him Moose. When my mum and Marius first got married, I didn't know what to call him, because Marius sounded far too formal. But I couldn't call him Dad, because I had my own one and, I don't know, just didn't sit right with me. But I was struggling to get used to it, because for a long time it was just the two of us. And now my mum had brought this new man into our lives, and I didn't know what his use was. But I had a children's book called What Use is a Moose? Where in the story, a family gets a moose, and they try putting the moose to a whole bunch of tasks, But in the end, they realized the moose's only use is just to be loved. And we loved our moose. He always introduced me to people as either his youngest or as his daughter. He never introduced me as his stepdaughter. I think he really saw me as one of his own, and blood didn't matter. I was his daughter, and he was my moose. Whenever I had a problem with anyone, he would always tell them, well, you just go and tell them that you have a moose, as if to intimidate them. But he taught me how to be brave, and how to stand up for myself, and how to fight back when people were mean to me. He taught me so much, so that now when I have a problem with someone, I don't need to tell them that I have a moose, because I have the strength of a moose. So I would like to say thank you to Moose. I would like to thank him for loving me, and for teaching me everything he taught me, and for being the dad that I needed, or rather, the moose that I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Is Emma happy to join us now?
Let me ask her.
Okay.
I'll have to log on. She can hear all of the speeches, by the way.
Okay.
She can hear all of them, so that's fine.
Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, everything just sort of went to...
No, it's not a problem. I tell you what, while we get Emma up, why don't we hear from Ben? Ben, are you happy to come up? Where are you, Mike? There you go.
If you love them.
Okay, let's see. He's got a stopwatch.
No, there's no
That's
stop.
the last thing. Alright. Can't be through its eyes.
It's okay. It's all right, Ben. You can take your time. You can take your time. There's no rush. Tell us when you're ready. And I will say my speech for now because I can read it, I hope. But I don't guarantee I'm going to get through it in one go. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. Marius loved his family and was very proud and boastful of them. So it gives me great pleasure to be boastful of him now. He was a learned, intelligent man. He was always right, except for that one time that he thought he was wrong. He was ambitious, he was competitive, he loved music, he loved to see people succeed. He was kind, he loved to watch rugby and scream advice to the team. Little Julia suggested that maybe he should be their coach one year when they were looking for a coach. He loved to cook, and cook in large quantities. He loved to drink with his friends and to make friends. He loved to socialize. He loved to teach, even though I wasn't always interested in the lesson. He loved to travel and explore, but mostly he loved people and all their complexities. He would spend many an hour engaged in conversation, some of it meaningful, some of it not so much. Marius was a very generous man, as we know. I would sometimes think to a fault, but I see that same generosity in his family. I see a group of strong people who give gladly of their funds, their time, and themselves to the betterment of all that they encounter. Marius also lived big. Big in stature, big houses, big cars, big dreams, big adventures. And even in his last days at the Helen Joseph Hospital, he lived big, with a large team of dedicated doctors and nurses looking after him. Marius was not well over the last couple of months, and I lost a bit of him every day. However, he still had his standards. One day he suggested to me that perhaps I should look for another job because I wasn't really good at this job, looking after him. And having fired me, he said that I should let Ben know, which was still a Marius lesson. Always close the loop. So with that, I'm going to close off my speech with a thank you to all of you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your kind thoughts, prayers and stories. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Dad, Mum, Eugene, Ben, Alinda, Emma, Helen, Wayne, Shannon, Julia, John, and even our Herbert who lives here, for all your help for making this day very special for Marius. And I thank Marius for the time and the love he gave us.
Daddy, today we celebrate you and boy. There is so much of you to share, and remember, you were larger than life in every way. Nothing you did was small. Your bride for 8 people comprised of 1 full trolley of food, 1 full trolley of alcohol, and 1 full trolley of meat. It involved a whole day of organizing and cooking, and everything had to be perfect. And you never did it for yourself. You just loved spoiling others. And you loved having a good time. Even your toasted sandwiches were larger than life, consisting of every topping and sauce imaginable. I remember when I was a little girl, I was in awe of you. You had such a strong hold. When you held my hand or gave me a hug, I literally felt like I was being held by a superhero. You were my protector, and when you weren't around, you always made sure Ben knew that he had to protect me. And Dad, that never changed. You remained my superhero, and I felt that same strong hold when you walked me down the aisle and hugged me before handing me over to Brenda. We loved going for runs together, and when I was training for the 2 oceans, you refused to let me run on the streets on my own. So you drove your car next to me for 21 kilometers to make sure that I was safe. If any other cars on the road got upset with how slow you were driving or where you were driving, you swore at them out the window. You loved experiencing everything that life could offer. You loved a new challenge. 1 week you were taking karate classes, the next week art classes, the week after that you were learning to play a guitar, and the list goes on. You would decide a month before that you were running the 2 oceans or cycling the Argus. You would fit in a few training sessions here and there and complete each race. You had such determination and mental strength. Daddy, you love to dance, sing, and make people laugh. A heart of gold is what every family member and friend has said about you. And it's incredible to see just how boundless your reach has been. The true measure of a man is how much he gives, how selflessly he shares whatever he can to help others, how consistently he lifts up those around him with a kind word, a funny joke, a compliment, a humble ear, or the very shoes of his feet. And by this measure, Dad, you are immeasurable. I remain grateful and comforted knowing how much you positively affected the lives of so many people. You left an impact on every person you met, even strangers, who didn't stay strangers for very long because you were just so damn friendly. You would even pick up random children in the supermarkets and give them a cuddle. The love you spread on this earth continues to grow and will live on. I take comfort in knowing that you are no longer in pain, that suffering is no longer something you have to endure. I wish I could have held your hand or kissed you goodbye. But Daddy, just know that you will forever be in my heart until the day it stops beating. I've lost you, Daddy, but only in body, not in spirit. We talk to you, we talk about you, we look for you, and we say goodnight to you every night. Harlan takes his torch out to see if he can see you in the sky. He's still trying to figure out how he can bring you back. You were so proud to be an Opa. Daddy, find Harlan and find Alba. They are looking for you, and live within them. find me and live within me. I still need you to be my superhero, my protector. Thank you, Daddy, for your unconditional love. I love you so much, now and always. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Well, introduce this as Jan. Marius'
Jan.
friend.
Yeah, I met Marius about, I guess, 8 years ago when I met Benita. We became business partners. So I've known Marius for 8 years, and for 8 years we've developed cutting edge technology, great stuff, exciting stuff, a solution for lots of problems we have in the country. I guess we partly left with a loop to close. Marius have left a legacy which some of us want to continue with. So for us, it's not the end of our engagement with Marius. There's a lot that we have to continue. What we've done with Marius was not easy. It was very difficult. It was challenging. A lot of it got caught up in the politics of South Africa and the complexities that comes with it, which made it very difficult. But I remember Marius, when things were particularly hard, he was the one that got up and said, no, we're going to do this. No doubt about it. So if I think of Marius, I think of his humanity, I think of his sharp contributions, I think of his drive to be on the cutting edge of development, to do something that's different and fundamental for the country. I knew he mobilized people. He certainly mobilized us. And I think it's just as you started with building a church, we're in a different type of building that Marius has helped to construct. And he's just the type of guy, you cannot drop him. Somehow we'll continue with his legacy. It was great to know Marius.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you. So we'll play Emma's video of the children later, because I think then we will definitely not have a dry eye in the house. So until we play that, my mother will finish off for us with the final reading.
Okay. I have to read it, and I'm not going to cry. Marius, may the angels lead you into paradise. May the martyrs come to welcome you and take you to the holy city, the new and eternal Jerusalem. May the choir of angels welcome you, where Lazarus is poor no longer, and may you rest in eternal peace.
Thank you.
Who are you looking for, Harlan?
Opa.
Opa.
Opa, where are you?
You look up in the sky for him, see if you can find him.
But Mommy, it's too cloudy to see Opa.
No, you look very carefully and you'll see him. Call him.
Opa! But no, I need to get my torch. Opa, where are you?
Opa, where are you?
Oh no!
He's there. He's up in the sky. You've just got to find him. Are you looking? You can blow kisses to Opa?
I do. Two kids up in the sky, look.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh no.
Right, should we say goodnight to Opa?
Papa Moon.
Say goodnight, Opa.
Papa Opa.
See you tomorrow.
Hello.
See you tomorrow. Harlan, you gonna say goodnight to Opa?
Good night, Opa.
I love you, Opa.
Morning.
See you in the morning.
How are we gonna get Opa down now?
My boy Opa's gonna stay up there. He's gonna watch over us every day.
Why?
Because that's where he lives now. And we get to see him. We just gotta look for him.
And I think that wraps it up quite correctly for how we would love to remember Marius. He's up there amongst the stars with the moon, and he'll always be in our hearts and souls. And now, here comes Mr. Benz.
Okay, so I'm trying to sum up 3 pages. I'll see a couple of words that I just have to get out. And he had an almost supernatural ability to inspire hope.
That he did, Ben. He did.
You want to read the words?
No one could read this. Scratch.
He's trained in how to teach.
He had the mental acuity to make that hope tangible. Oh, it was so easy to rally behind him. I miss him immensely. Every person he met, he gave him a piece of his heart. That's just what a person he is. So maybe if you meet him once, and you meet him for 5 minutes, he's a part of you for the rest of your life. There's nothing you can do about it. I just want to thank one of you for being his friends. Let him know I was better.
You've done well.
Thank you.
You've done well.
Thank you.
I'm going to use all your serviettes again.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And I guess we wish Marius a safe and happy journey. And we know that he is now at peace where he is. Please join us for something to drink, something to eat. Some of us might need something more than a Coke. But please join us. Thank you.
Ek ken 'n ou liedjie van lewenswel en weer van lang vergane skepe in die kelder van die see. Die woorde is vergeten en toch die dinkie draai soos vaag onthoude griepies uit 'n baie ou verhaal van swerwers sonder rigting, van soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Gesigte, drome, name is deur die wind verwaai en waarin al die woorde is so net 'n kind wil raai. Swerwers sonder rigting, soekers wat nooit vind en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kolle op die vuur. En die tafel en die laaikas en alles wat eers vas was versmelt tot blote skaries teen die muur. Ons drome van gister word somber en sinister, want kyk, alles het 'n vasgestelde uur. Ons beplan torenblokke, maar die slopers is betrokke en ons drome is bloot skadu's teen die muur. Met orgelbegeleiding kom die voorspel tot die skeiding, maar dis alles reg, die liefde is 'n vuur. En van die vurige hofmaat word ons later in die hofspak, en die liefde is 'n skadu teen die muur. En swart of wit getooi, en 'n stoet of 'n konvooi, wonder elkeen hoe lank alles nog sal duur. En leef alders te balder, van die kus wag op die solder, en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. En leef alders te balder, van die kus wag op die solder, en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kolle op die vuur. En my voete en my hande word ou bekende lande en skadu-kaarte teen die kamermuur. Die wêreld word 'n skadu teen die muur. Flikkerende skadu teen die muur. Ek ken 'n ou liedjie van lewenswel en weer, van lang vergane skepe in die kelders van die see. Die woorde is vergeten, en toch die dinkie draal, soos vaag onthoude griepies uit 'n baie ou verhaal. Van zwervers sonder rigting, van soekers wat nooit vind, en eindelik was almal maar kinders van die wind. Gesigte, drome, name is deur die wind verwaai. En waarin al die woorde is, so net 'n kind wil raai. Zwervers sonder rigting, soekers wat nooit vind, en eindelik was al Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kool op die vuur. En die tafel en die laaikas en alles wat eers vas was versmelt tot blote skaries teen die muur. Ons drome van gister word somber en sinister, want kyk, alles het 'n vasgestelde uur. Ons beplan torenblokke, maar die slopers is betrokke en ons drome is bloot skadu's teen die muur. Met orgelbegeleiding kom die voorspel tot die skeiding, maar is alles reg, die liefde is 'n vuur. En van die vurige hofmaat word ons later in die hofsak, en die liefde is 'n skadu teen die muur. En swart of wit getooi, en 'n stoet of 'n konvooi, wonder elkeen hoe lank alles nog sal duur. En leef alders te balder, want die kus wag op die solder, en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. En leef alders te balder, want die kus wag op die solder, en die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die lewe is 'n skadu teen die muur. Die donker kom van buite en syfer deur die ruite en ek gooi nog 'n paar kole op die vuur. En my voete en my hande word ou bekende lande en skadikaarte teen die kamermuur. Die wêreld word 'n skadu teen die muur. Flikkerende skadu teen die muur.